I know nobody's going to know the date and the time. However, maybe the generation that goes through it might know the general area on when it's coming, because why would he give us so many signs to look for? You may not know the date, but you're going to know the general movement, are you not?
Absolutely. And it seems to me that the most profound prophecy in all of the Bible, except for the one that Jesus would, he himself, be raised from the dead, is that promise that God would regather the children of Israel to their homeland. And that happened in May 1948. And so I find myself agreeing with those scholars who say, a page of prophetic history turned in May of 1948, because several of the prophecies Israel has to be returned to its homeland in order for those prophecies to be fulfilled. And there are multiple prophecies in the Old Testament that say that God will regather his people to their homeland. Now, I can imagine for nearly 2,000 years, serious students of the Bible would read those prophecies and say, well, that could never happen. But then it did happen. It did happen.
Yeah.
And so now that has happened, that to me signals that we're in a unique season, an era that should cause us to keep our eyes up, our Bibles open, our hearts open, and our hope open. It's going to get crazy before the end, but we're getting close to the end.
So, what are the signs that you say we should be looking for, or the ones that you say, I think this one, and this one are happening right now?
Yeah. Well, the one we just mentioned is absolutely essential. It's often called the super sign, and that is the regathering of the children of Israel to the land of Israel. It's the only nation that has ever been banished from its homeland for nearly 2,000 years and then restored or regathered to its homeland. And this prophecy is found multiple times in the Bible. Specifically, I'm looking here in my notes from Ezekiel, 650 years before Christ. God said to the Israelites, I will take you from the nations and I will gather you from all the lands and I will bring you into your own land. And then here's a prophecy 740 years before Christ. He will raise up a banner for the nations and gather the exiles of Israel. He will assemble the scattered people of Judah from the four quarters of the earth. That's through Isaiah. Now, May 14th, 1948 saw that page turn in the calendar of prophetic history, and circumstances
and I think it's
changed.
It's still happening. People are still, the gathering of Israel is still happening at a greater pace than any other time.
More than ever. You're absolutely right. And in fact, I read from the Jerusalem Post, it's been about several months, a quote that said that more people are returning to Israel now than in the history of Israel. And then you overlay that with prophecies from the Old Testament that in the end days, Israel, now a regathered nation, would be surrounded, encircled by its enemies. And that's a part of the news every day, how Israel is increasingly encircled by enemies.
In fact, I think it was the head of Hezbollah or Hamas that said, our encirclement of Israel is almost complete in the last few weeks. That was their exact language.
My goodness. Yeah. I didn't see that, but it's enough to cause us to really pay attention.
Right. So the gathering happens. We know that wars and rumors of war, and boy, oh boy, we're in the rumor of war right now, but could we not see a war of biblical proportions? Biblical proportions.
It could happen in a heartbeat, Glenn. I don't know what else we would need to convince us. All we're waiting on is somebody to press the wrong red button on the wrong side of the border. And things are going to go sideways really, really quickly. And that's why I think it's so important for us to be looking at this, not just from a geopolitical viewpoint, but a spiritual viewpoint, as the Bible gives us this timeline to help us understand how to interpret these difficult times in which we find ourselves.